Do you measure your worth by your bank account? Do you base your happiness on your income, your title, or the kind of car that you drive? If you do, you're not alone. I did it for years and I paid the emotional price for it. See, what we don't realize is how deep this programming runs, how subtly and constantly we're told that our value is something we have to earn, that who we are isn't enough until the money shows up. I used to believe that once I looked the part, once I wore the right brands, drove the right car, lived in the right house, then I'd feel worthy. I feel like I mattered. And in that moment, I did, but it was fleeting because no matter how expensive the clothes, no matter how luxurious the life looked on the outside, I was still the same person inside, still chasing something I couldn't buy, still trying to become something I was always trying to prove that I already was. So, why do we do this? Why do we fall into this trap? Why do so many of us tie our self-worth to our net worth? There are cultural, psychological, and economic forces that shape this mindset. From the moment we open our eyes, we're sold a dream: luxury, success, status, the good life. We scroll through curated feeds of people in private jets, six-pack abs, standing in front of multi-million-dollar homes. We watch commercials where handbags makes you feel powerful or a watch makes you feel desirable, and the message is always the same. If you buy this, you'll be this, so we internalize it. We begin to think that we're only as valuable as what we wear, what we own, or how expensive we look. But let me ask you something. Have you ever seen Elon Musk show up in Gucci? Have you ever seen Jeff Bezos decked out in Louis Vuitton head to toe? Has Steve Ballmer ever stepped on stage dripping in Balenciaga? No, because real wealth doesn't need to prove itself. The wealthiest people on the planet don't wear their money because they don't need to. When you know your worth, you don't have to advertise it. But most people aren't taught that. We're taught to dress up our insecurities, to wrap our self-doubt in luxury, to convince the world that we're winning even when we feel empty inside. In some cases, people struggling with money are the most vulnerable to this. They feel pressure even more because when society treats wealth as status, lack of wealth can feel like shame. So we chase, we overspend, we compare, and we hustle, not for freedom, but for validation. And in the end, we're left wondering, why don't I feel any better? So, what does real self-worth actually look like? What happens when you finally break free from this cycle? What does it look like when we no longer attach our net worth to our self-worth? Well, it looks like peace. It looks like driving a 10-year-old car and not caring what anyone thinks because you're not trying to impress anyone. It looks like wearing what you love, not what screams status. It looks like knowing your character, your value, your integrity say way more about you than your bank statement ever could. It looks like understanding that you don't need to prove anything, not to strangers, to social media, not even to yourself, because your worth was never something you had to earn. It was always there. And the more you build from the inside out, your discipline, your mindset, your purpose, the more unshakable you become. When your sense of self is no longer based on external validation, you're free. You stop needing people to notice you. You stop comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. And you stop spending to feel worthy. And instead, you invest in what actually matters: your growth, your peace, your contributions. See, these are the real flexes of life. So, in closing, let me leave you with this. Your title is not determine your value or your follower count or the labels on your shoes. Your incomes and investment do not determine your worth because your value is intrinsic. It's not for sale. It cannot be repossessed. Because when you stop trying to buy your worth, you finally start owning it. The richest life you'll ever live is the one where you don't need to prove you're rich. You just know your worth, and that's priceless. So guys, quick video today. If something hit, share it with someone else. And remember, life is always better when we stop pretending and start talking. Catch you next time.